Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to be working on a full foil wrap tumbler. I did one recently with a zebra print and I posted it on all of the places, and I got a lot of requests for a tutorial, so here we are. We are working on a 20-ounce straight tumbler from the tumbler supply store, and we're going to be working with the new Counterculture DIY's Fast Set Turbo Epoxy. I wanted to share this little hack, I guess you could call it, with you that I love to do. If I am going to be glittering a tumbler in a all over solid single color, I almost always use this trick. I take the tumbler and I spray paint it in a base color, the exact color that I need it to be glittered. So if I'm doing white, I spray paint it white. If I'm doing it black, I spray paint it black. And then I add glitter to the epoxy, and then I just epoxy right over that white base. So it leaves a smooth surface, it's glittered, and I didn't have to go through all the extra steps of epoxying it or using glitter glue, applying the glitter, and then applying epoxy over that. So this one we needed a white base, so I used some of my favorite white glitters from Diamonds and Dust, and then we just applied enough in the epoxy that it will give it a good coverage, but not so much that it will make it a rough texture when you apply this coat to the tumbler. And since we're working with the turbo, you have to work fast. So as soon as I combine the two parts of the epoxy, I pour in a little bit of glitter and mix quickly and apply it, and then I apply quick heat and let it set. It is dry to the touch and workable within an hour. This stuff is amazing. So after that is completely done, then I am taking my foil glue from Artistic Painting Studio and giving it a good coat all around the surface of the tumbler. Not worrying about the bottom, it's glittered, it doesn't need the foil, we're just working on the surface. So I completely cover that in a good coat, and then I am impatient, so I use my heat gun, heat it a little bit, set it aside so it will dry. You'll know it's dry and ready to apply the foil when it is clear. You won't be able to see that cloudy, hazy look on the tumbler anymore. And then of course, in true Nicole-like fashion, I thought I was recording, but I had actually turned off the camera when I first wrapped the foil around this tumbler, but I'm gonna go back and show you exactly how I did it. So once that was completely dry, then I took my foil sheet and I laid it out flat on my desk, and I lined up the tumbler and just put it on. I kind of stretched out the foil so it was nice and straight, tried not to get any wrinkles, and then rolled up the tumbler. After it was all rolled up and wrapped, I took my squeegee and scraped it all over to really help it transfer onto the tumbler. Then I slowly peeled it off, as you can see here, and there is nothing more satisfying than wrapping a full wrap on your tumbler with the foil and getting it to come off as clean as it did here. Can we just appreciate this clean peel for a second? I think this was the cleanest foil peel I have ever done. But here we go, I'm gonna show you. So pretend that this is not transferred already. This is how I did it. I just laid it down, wrapped the tumbler on the foil, I kind of rolled it up, and then just scraped it and peeled it off, and that was it. After that, it received a nice generous coat of polyacrylic. Once that was dry, then it got 2 coats of the turbo epoxy, and then it was ready to move on to the next step. I was originally going to make it look identical to the zebra one that I posted. However, I decided I didn't want to do that. So instead of making the big thick stripe of glitter on the bottom, I was going to do it on the top. And then I decided I didn't want to do that either. So I decided instead of one stripe, I would do a thin stripe of glitter on the top and a thin stripe of glitter on the bottom. So here I was originally taping off that thick stripe on the top and then peeled all this tape off and moved on to what I was going to do. And then I added this row of tape to the very bottom and then just spaced it a little bit and added another row of painter's tape right above that. And I have a serious question. Does anybody else add tape to their tumbler, know it's straight, but still feel like it looks crooked to you? Because I swear every single time I add a straight line of tape or vinyl striping or whatever to my tumbler, I feel like it's not straight and I will redo it like 4 or 5 times. It's crazy. I think it's just my eyes playing tricks on me. I don't know. But anyways, I added that to the bottom and then I did the same thing to the top. I added a row of tape to the very top, spaced it out without measuring it. I just eyeballed it and did another one below that, and then we're gonna go in and glitter these stripes. Here's me looking at it and questioning if the lines are really straight. And at this point, I was like, I think they're just straight enough. We'll just move on from here. I had this little sample bottle of glitter glue from Artistry Epoxy, so I pulled that out and applied it to the tumbler where I wanted the glitter, and then I took Diamonds and Dust Radiance glitter and poured that over the top, and it's the perfect glitter for this foil because it has that iridescent color shift that is exactly in the cheetah print from the foil. So I'm going to apply that to the bottom stripe and the top stripe, and as soon as that is applied, I am going to remove the painter's tape because I do not want the glitter glue to dry on the painter's tape because then it's a real hard mess to try and remove that tape later on. And while you watch me do that, I wanted to take a minute to just talk about a few things that I learned while using the Counterculture DIY's Fast Set Turbo. It does not like anything water-based, so I don't recommend using alcohol inks with it. It does not like a lot of heat, so be quick with your torch it and be done. And also, thinner coats are better. And even though it's dry to the touch in about 20 minutes, give it that full hour before you start working on the next layer. But let me tell you, it is such a game changer, this turbo, because I am trying to work a little bit ahead. We're going out of town at the beginning of August, so I'm trying to get some extra stuff done, and this has really helped me stay ahead of the game while working on these tumblers. Once all that tape is removed, I'm going to let that dry and then give it 2 coats of clear, glossy Rust-Oleum spray paint and then go in with 2 coats of epoxy. Now comes the fun part where it all comes together. I cut some thin striping out of white vinyl, and then I got this SVG from Diamonds and Dust website, and I am going to cut that in. I cut that in white as well, and then I'm going to apply all the striping lines to the outside of that glitter stripe and then apply the white offset where I want it on the tumbler as well. And then we're going to go in with a blue accent color. So I'm going to apply all the striping lines first, and then we'll go in with the blue. Again, looking at it and questioning myself if the lines are straight because they still look off to me, but it's okay. We move on. So I actually, in the end, decided to add an extra stripe of white just for some added fun detail. So I cut a thinner line in white and added that to the top of every thicker white vinyl stripe. Then I cut thinner stripes of the blue vinyl, which this vinyl is so pretty. I got it from Hobby Lobby. It's their glitter line and it's really pretty. I really was going for a purple, but they didn't have it when I went, so I went with this really pretty blue. And so I just added a thin stripe to the center of all of the white striping and then added the SVG right on top of the offset. Sometimes I put the decal and the offset together before I apply it to the tumbler, but this vinyl, the backing was white and so was the vinyl, so I knew that there was no way that I could line it up correctly, so it was much easier to apply the offset first and then apply the vinyl. My original design idea was to stop here with just the SVG and the vinyl striping, but once I got that all applied, it felt like it needed something more to me, so I decided to cut some small cheetah spots out of the same blue and just kind of do a cascading diagonal swirl with those cheetah spots, just to add some extra pop of color and tie it in with the very background on the cheetah foil print that's on the background, and I absolutely love the way it all came together. Once I was all done adding those cheetah spots, I went in and gave it another coat of polyacrylic and then 2 final coats of CCDIY's medium viscosity. You can use turbo as a final coat, but I just have always been a medium viscosity girl, so I like to go in with my final coats as the medium. I did sand the rim and all over the tumbler and a little bit on the bottom in between those 2 final coats, and it was all done. I really love the way this tumbler came together. I really wasn't sure if I was going to like the blue when I ended up getting it, but in the end, I absolutely love the way it all came together. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that I have inspired you in some way. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and give me a like and a follow on all my socials. I will leave all of that information down in the description box with a list of all of the products I've used, and I will see you next week. Bye, y'all.